foam in there at the back, but this is a size 12 just to make it easier for the video. I would normally tie these on 16s or smaller. So this is just a standard dry fly hook, if I can get the packet opened. And the thread is 180 nano silk. It's maybe a bit thin, but it was what was in my bobbin, so we'll just work with it. Just going to start the thread at the just a bit back from the eye and run it down the hook a bit. And I'm going to stop it just where the point of the hook is and bring it back up. Because this is the nano silk, I like to put a base of the thread down first and then tie over the top of that. Just feel it's very slippy stuff. We've got 4 CDC feathers here and they're quite short. I'm going to line all the tips up and I'm going to tie that forward of the eye. Probably about just a bit less than a hook length. So just a couple of pinching loops. And if you pull up the way, it helps keep it on the top of the hook. And then I'm just going to come down a wee bit and then snip that at an angle so it puts a taper into the body. Now if you keep all these wee cut ends, you can save all this for dubbing. It's brilliant stuff. So I'm just going to work this on down. And with most flies, you would be tying them in, tying your materials right to where the barb would be. But with this one, I like to stop just about there. And for the body, you want a long CDC feather. I've found these ones here to be very good. They can be quite expensive, but you're only using one feather. So if you just tie it into the back here with one very loose turn and pull it, all the tips should get lined up. And just work that up the body. And if you make sure your tips stop where the cut end of the first CDC is, it just helps to take that big step out. So I'm not sure on the thickness of this foam, but I've just been cutting strips of it off about 2mm wide and cut a wee point on it and just tie it in behind here where the CDC wing is. Just a couple of turns and then work back up. And then I'm going to lift my wing up in the air, a couple of turns underneath. And if you lift this and just throw the weight of your bobbin over the top of the foam, it just holds it out of the way for you. So it's not in your way when you're wrapping the body up. So just give the CDC feather a bit of a twist of my fingers. I'm just working it up the body here. And once you get to here, just take a turn away and the foam should come back. You can get a turn in front and a turn in front of the CDC wing as well. And then I'm just going to lift this up. So this wee fly here, I had a friend who was fishing. I'm not sure where he was fishing. He was down in the south somewhere, and there was a lot of anglers at the lake, but nobody was really catching. But it was for stock rainbows, and he noticed the fish were taking something off the surface. So he tied one of these on a wee size 18, I think it was, and he had a few fish. So sometimes you just want something a bit less flashy. So I'm just splitting, because there's 4 feathers there, you want to just pretty easy to split, just pull 2 each side. And then, oh, no, that wasn't supposed to break off, but it's easy to fix. So just come back in behind your CDC wing. A couple of turns of this, lift it up, go in front again, and then split your wing.
It's probably the nano silk cutting it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just sweeping everything back and then pinching the foam in between my thumb and finger. Just taking a loose turn of the thread down towards the eye. And I've found it very, very beneficial if I just touch the thread with some super glue, because there's no more materials going in, so you just want to make sure that stays in. Just give it a slight pull and snip. and then you can whip finish. And you'll notice there's a lot, well, not a lot, but sometimes there's these fibers coming out. You can snip them off, or you can just encourage them to come up into the wing. On my flies, I would normally just sweep them up into the wing, but some people are fussy. So you can tie them as small as you can possibly see, and they'll catch fish. And they're just a brilliant wee fly. They just sit nice in the water, especially with a wee bit of foam in there. You know, they don't take a lot of
You,
drying either.
you finding the foam is helping it sit in the water, Matthew?
Oh, definitely. And because I've tied them short on the hook, they're sitting in the water sort of, you know, like that, rather than sitting on the water flat. The back of them sort of sits down a wee bit, and that foam, I do believe it's helping. They sit very nice in the water.
I tie almost an identical pattern,
Uh-huh.
but instead of the foam, what I've
Yeah.
been doing is I cut the top two stalks off my CDC
Uh-huh.
and then bring the other two stalks, which are underneath, through the middle as the thorax.
Ah, yes. See, they say the stalks of CDC are full of air, so that would definitely help it float as well.
So that's what I'd be doing, but it's basically the same pattern, but you got the foam in it.
Yeah.
I'll have to tie someone with the foam to
Yeah.
see how much difference.
And if you've got any snowshoe hair, you can do that wing with the snowshoe hair, and it sits very nicely. I do love using snowshoe hair when I can get the chance. Yeah. So the next fly I'm going to tie is probably my favorite fly there is to tie. It's a wet mayfly. So the hook I've got is a 1531 in size 10. And the thread is fluorescent fire orange by UTC. And there's a very, very nice thread here. It's very bright when you get the varnish on it. I'll have to give myself a threader because this can take a wee minute sometimes.
It's some of them little dental stick thread things.
Yes, I've been meaning to get some because the metal threaders I've heard can scrape the inside of your bobbin
Yeah,
and then cause the threads to snip.
I wouldn't
But
use metal.
I've just run the wax on the thread there, and starting at a few mil back from the eye, and I'm going to run it down the body and tan right back to the barb. Well, just a turn in front of the barb. I'm going to grab a pheasant tail here. So this is a sort of a golden olive color of a pheasant tail. And this is a brand new one, so I'm going to strip all this rubbish off the bottom. And with the mayflies, the trout really haven't learned to count yet, so you want a good 6 or 8 fibers in the tail, because if you tie in 3, you're going to lose most of them, and then you'll end up with no tail. So whenever I cut them off and the tips are lined, I roll them with my fingers, just so they're not sitting so uniform. And then you want a good body and a half, so probably about there. I'm just going to come up and pinch and loop that on the top. And normally I would put a turn underneath and just stops them sagging down. And I'm going to snip them the full length of the body. The rib, you just pick whatever color of globe right and go with that. But with the mayflies, I like pink in them. So take a good length off and double it over. And with the globe right rib, I would run it through the wax, and it helps the two strands sort of stick together a bit. And it works up the body a lot nicer. So Just going to tie that in the full length of the body as well, because I'm trying to keep the body the same thickness, no humps and bumps. And I'm just going to cover them overnight. It's going to be a dubbed body, so it doesn't really matter, but I like to be in the habit of keeping my bodies as smooth as possible. So back down there. So the dubbing I'm going to use is it was here. My young lad must have lifted it. It's probably sitting on the table again. This is electric olive, hare and squirrel dubbing. I'm going to hold it up the camera. You might see it, but it's absolutely rammed with different colors. Brilliant stuff. So just going to start it at the back here. Once you get it started, you can tighten up. And I'm just working up the body. And you want a slight taper in the body as well. This wee fly here was shown to me by Mark Robinson. A very, very good fly tier. He's a brilliant teacher too. So I'll stop a few mil back and I'm going to get my hackle. So I have a few different ones over here just to show you the different colors you can use. So that's a neck, and that's a sort of sooty olive color. But this is the one I'm using tonight, and this is a half saddle. And it's more of a lighter color, but for the mayflies, I think that just works nicer. So put my feather off and get rid of all this rubbish at the bottom. And I like the saddles are a wee bit softer, but they're still stiff enough to support the French partridge. So once I get a couple of turns in, I always fold the stalks back and tie them down, tie the stalk down again, and it just stops that feather pulling out at all. Snip that away. With this here, you want to make sure you get 3 good turns of it at the shoulder of the fly here before we start working down the body, because the French partridge in front will just collapse down the body of the fly if you don't do this. You want 3 good turns of this. This feather's not playing ball. Yes, 3 good turns of this here. And it's just going to help support the French partridge. And then 3 or 4 turns down the body. This is I'm coming up with the 4th turn there. I'll come over my rib. And you see the way, because I've waxed that, they're sticking together and they're not separating and giving you like a broken rib sort of look. So once I come up for the 5th turn, I'm sweeping everything back, coming in front. Let's throw my bobbin over a few times. Because that's well waxed, it doesn't take much to tie it in. Snip that off. Bringing the thread right to the eye. And I'm just working back and giving myself a nice base to tie in the French partridge. You can see normally people snap them off, but if you just open the tip of your scissors the tiniest wee bit, push it through, it'll break that off. So before I come in with the French partridge, because it's quite weak, I'm going to brush the body of the fly out. This is just a piece of Velcro on a lollipop stick. Anytime I'm in McDonald's or anywhere like that, the kids are tasked with going and seeing how many they can fit in their pocket. So well brushed out. So I have a box of these where I've sat and prepared all the feathers, and that's what I'm left with. But I'm going to show you what I do, because there might be people out there who haven't used French partridge and don't know what to do with it. So I only got this bag the other day, and I'm very happy with the color. Came off eBay. It's a Mayfly olive, and it's a very, very nice color. So all this at the bottom, all this fluff, you just want to get rid of that. And anytime I get a new bag, I would sit and just strip all this away because it would surprise you how much you actually end up with that's usable. So once I strip that off, I'll expose the tip of the feather and sweep everything back like a Christmas tree. And I want to come in and wax my thread before I tie it in. So 2 or 3 turns, and then I'm going to fold the tip back. A couple of turns, and if you slide your fingers back, because the tip's the shortest part, it exposes itself and you can just snip it out. I'm going to sweep everything back before I even start. Sometimes if you lick your fingers, it can help. I've seen people do it with scissors, but I've broke too many hackles. I would rather just take my time and do it this way. I've seen Luke, he's very good at it, of doubling the hackles with the scissors, but I break too many. So with each turn, I'm sweeping it back and holding it, and then turning over, and then going again. Just keep sweeping everything back, and again you can hackle your flies as much as you like or as little, but I like them well hackled. I'm paying for the feather, so I'm going to use the whole feather. That's the way I look at it. So
Matthew, you gave me at the show.
Pardon?
You remember those scissors you gave me at the show?
Yes.
Those are actually the only scissors I use to fold hackles. I haven't done any other scissors great with doubling back the feathers. I found those that gave me absolutely brilliant for it. I've about 3 or 4 pairs of scissors on my table, and I used that pair that you gave me just to fold the hackles.
Yeah, I've never even tried these wee scissors because they were just so sharp and pointy. I thought they'll definitely break it on me, but I'll have to give that a go.
The edge right, you'd be able to feel the edge running along them and you'll see the hackle folding, but it depends on the hackle. So I'm not sure with French partridge. I've done it with English partridge and stuff like that, but I've never done it with French partridge.
Oh, I'll have to give that a go.
Definitely do.
Yeah. So I have the tip folded back over again, and I've built my head. And you can be brave and snap that away, but for anyone who's starting out, just if you hold the stalk tight, open the tip of your scissors, whatever you're holding tight is the only thing that's going to get cut if you just push your scissors through. So a couple more turns. And with these, I'm going to put my varnish on the thread and just whip finish that in, and that'll be the wee fly finish. There's no, you don't need to go back over and get varnish all over the head and all over your feathers. Now, you'll see flies on Facebook and they look absolutely perfect. And the feathers are swept back and all that. If you got a hairdryer and hit that with a hairdryer, it'll sit absolutely perfect. But the fish aren't really going to notice once that gets wet and they'll start to pull through the water. But you'll notice the French partridge, it's sitting well up. And that's because we've put a couple of turns of hackle in there, and it just helps support this all. So whenever the fly gets wet, French partridge just doesn't collapse around the whole fly. And I like a pink rib on mayflies.
Nice.
I have another wee pattern, and it's a bit of controversy over how these are tied, but I thought I'll do it anyway, and sure we can talk about who's right and who's wrong. So again, the same hook, 1531, and just get that in place. The thread I'm going to use is this nano silk sitting in front of me. I like a black head on these dabblers. So starting my thread at the eye, I'm going to run it down the hook. Because that's nano silk, it's very slippy. you want to make sure you've well waxed. And sometimes I'll even put super glue on to stop it spinning. So once I get to here, I think a big bag of bronze mallard and tie the tail in. On your bronze mallard, you've got all this down here, and that's brilliant stuff for the wing. But up here, this is all a lot stiffer, and this is what I would use for my tails. So I want to pull off, about that much, and you can snip it or you can rip it, whatever you're comfortable with. Putting in my fingers and sort of rolling it. And that's one hook length, and then 1 1/4 or so. Just pinch and loop that on. A couple of turns and a turn underneath. The rib on this is going to be, this is wrong stuff. I'll go and grab in gold. This is oval gold. Normally I would be using medium, but the medium's all done, so this is going to be fine or small. It'll work just as fine, just as well. So I'll tie that in on the underside of the hook, and that's just so that my first turn doesn't affect the tail. And then I'm going to run that up the body. It's been quite a while since I've tied a dabbler. So once you get up, just snip these off the length of the body. Probably should have done that before we ran the thread up. And then I'm going to bring the thread back down. So a lot of people tan Claret Dabblers, tie them with seals for a body, but the original is tied with so this is what the very first Claret Dabbler was tied with, and this is the exact material. So everyone's doing them with seals for bodies now, but this is what the first one's done with. So just going to again tie that in the full length of the body. You can't buy this exact color anymore, but you can buy a Lagarten, or however you pronounce that, one that is very similar, and I'm sure the fish won't mind. So just run that up the body.
Is it a floss or a body wool?
So it's a floss, but most flosses are very shiny,
Yeah.
and this one is nowhere near as shiny as normal. So I don't know if it picks up on the camera there.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it is sort of a woolly type material, but you cannot buy this for love nor money. But I've found something very similar. I thought I'll use the real stuff tonight. So just going to run this up the body and touch and turns. I do like the seals for a body on the dabblers myself, but I thought I'll just try the original tonight and others can give it a go. Just coming up the body with this. And then snip that off. So the hackle that's going to go down the body is the Claret saddle. Again, if you go online, everyone says that their Claret cape is Claret, but to me this is Claret, so I don't know. Everyone argues over Claret and magenta and everything, but this is the only one for me. So you want to get a feather with good and long feathers on it. Strip them off, the rubbish. And I'm going to tie that in Just about there. And I'll snip that waste away. And park my thread here. So, again, the same with the last one. I want a few turns here to support the wing. You don't want it just collapsing on the fly. Then we'll work down the body and good open turns. Right. I would put a lot more hackle on my flies than most people. You can, whatever you think, it's your flies. So just keep coming up body, probably 4 or 5 turns of this. And just when I'm coming up to the last one, I'm going to sweep everything back. Come up in front of this rib. Now I have an old pair of scissors that I always cut these with, and they're lying in front of me here because I feel like this stuff would blunt a pair of scissors. Not sure, maybe people who've been tanning longer than me could tell me if it does really blunt a pair of scissors or if I'm being silly. So bringing the thread back to where that stops. And again, I'm going to snip this off. Now, if that was a dubbed body, you would be coming in there with your dubbing brush and brushing that all out. So the wing is going to be, this is the same feather that I tied the tail with, but we're using the other part of the feather now. So there's loads of different ways you can tie a dabbler. Like that one, wasn't dark enough. It was not dark enough either. For a good bronze mallard is very hard to come by. Getting really, really dark stuff. No, not bad. No. Maybe one. Oh. Take the rubbish away, and I'm going to pull out a good slip of fibers. So probably, what would that be, 20 mil? And just line the tips up as best as you can. And just hold that and rip it off. So it's very hard to show you, but I'm laying that in my hand. And I'm folding both edges into the center. And then, once we've got both edges folded in, I fold it in half. And you get a slip of bronze mallard. Now, if you hold that up, you can tie your tails wherever you want, but I would normally go just about halfway into the tail. If you set that on the hook, and you're just resting your thumb on the eye of the hook, bring it round towards yourself just a bit. You're going to come up with a thread, and you're using the thread to pull it to where you want it. So it's not sitting right. So I'm using the thread here just to, there's no pressure, I'm not even using any weight or nothing. I'm just using the thread to pull the bronze mallard to where I think it needs to be. And then you can sort of squish it around the hook a bit more, or if there's bits missing, encourage it to go around. So your side's looking a bit light, so I'm just going to squish them around. And I'm going to lift this up and put a couple of turns in and underneath the bronze mallard. And then whenever I'm cutting this, I always hold on to the wing because I can want a good pair of scissors that too. And just sweeping any wee fibers going forward, sweep them back. And we're going to cover all them tips up. Usually easier if you come back to the eye and work your way back through the cut ends rather than coming down towards the eye. and build your hair up to whatever size you want. And to me, that's a cloaked wing dabbler because it's open. It's open on the underneath, but it's cloaked, around the top. So with this nano silk, I'm going to super glue it and then whip finish. Just a touch onto the thread. Just whip that super glue down into it. For fishing flies, I would usually finish them super glue rather than varnish. It's a lot faster. And it's a lot stronger. Might turn a wee bit white every now and again, but if you can get yourself this, it doesn't turn white on you. So to me that's how you tie the dabblers.
I don't think there's a right or a wrong way.
No. I'll have to ask the man that invented them. He's lives down the road from me. I'll have to ask him someday and see if he'll give me an interview on it. Put an end to the whole thing.
Laurie Finney showed me a lovely way of cloaking. What he did, he cuts the feather, so
Yes.
he's got all in one. Cuts the end straight, offers
Yeah.
it up to the hook, and then uses his thread to take it around and around.
Yes, I've never seen it done, but I've heard it talked about. I've tried it. I just can't get it to work.
It takes a bit of practice, but once you master it, it's a lovely way. You get
Yeah.
a perfect cloak all the way around.
Yeah. Sometime when I'm tying the dabblers, I would. I'll do one here and show you. There's another way I would tie the wings on a few of them. It's just the same hook again. See, when I'm tying the dabblers, if I want the fly to be smaller, rather than using a smaller hook, I'll just tie it a bit shorter on the hook. Because if you're fishing, you want to get the biggest fillet sort of hook you can get away with, and pens are usually it. So I'm going to tie this one with this UTC thread just because it's got a bit of a hot spot head. I'm just going to run the thread down, same as the last one. A lot of people I've seen use pheasant tail for the tail, but pheasant tail can be quite brittle. Just coming in with the tail. A little bit right there. Pinch and leave it on the top. It's maybe a bit much in the tail there. Snip that off. A lot of flies nowadays are getting called dabblers just because there's a bit of bronze mallard on it, and I don't know why this is coming about, but you can't slap a bit of bronze mallard on a fly and call it a dabbler, I don't think. So that's my thought. I need the rib. There's another dabbler, is very nice. There's a Peter Ross dabbler. It's just tied with the Peter Ross colors. So run that up, try and have the body good and thin. Because this is a floss body, you want to make sure you're keeping the body sort of half smooth. And that's why I would try and do it on all my flies, because then I'm half used to doing it. So I'll catch that in the full length. So run that up the body, and I'd give it a bit of a twist because then it sort of flattens out a wee bit, covers the body a bit faster. And the feather I'm using is the Claret saddle, so usually you get more than one fly out, but I drop mine on the floor and the dog's away with it. I always fold the tips back, and I find it's a whole lot stronger for the flies.
Help stop it pulling out.
Yeah. Couple of turns in here. And then we're just working down the body and open turns. Come up underneath the rib. Just work that up through. Sweeping everything back. Don't know what my dog is trying to do over there. It sounds like it's trying to dig through the carpet. So we're just running the thread back. Break that off. So there's another way you can tie the wings on dabblers. Whenever I was first starting to tie, this is how I was tying them because I couldn't do it any other way. This would be probably the easiest way there is. And strip the rubbish off. You want to get a good bunch of fibers and try and line the tips up. Just fold them in your hand till you get a slip that's about 8 millimeters wide, roughly. I think that's what that is. And then I'm going to invert my vise and that just past the hook point. Come up, pinch and loop, and snip that away. Up until recently, this is the only way I tie my dabblers because it was just easier, and I don't think the fish really care. I think the only people that worry about what way your wings tied is the people on Facebook. So, really struggling to get any nice feathers out of this bag. Where do you all get your bronze mallard from?
Steve Cooper.
That's where I got mine from there, but a lot of it's very, very grey. Normally I would get mine from Dimp McClements, the
Yeah.
Irish plucker, but it's very hard to get it off. By probably a couple of weeks after the shooting season, it's all over. So just take a strip off and mash it in your fingers to get a bit of a wing together. Set it up on top, bring it about halfway down the tail. Pinch and loop. And then just put your thumb on top and work it around a wee bit. And you'll notice with this way, your wing is a lot darker than on a cloaked fly, but it's because the bronze mallard's all bunched up. So I'm bringing my thread back to the eye. I'm working back through all the cut ends. Oh, you'll build your head a lot easier like that. that for a long time. This is how I tied my dabblers, and I still caught fish. So I don't often put a bright orange head on my flies, but these are for a friend who's fishing. If you've ever heard of it, the Melvin Open. So you win a boat if you win it. And he's away fishing it. It's his first time going, and he likes a bit of orange in his flies, so I'm gonna send them down with these. There's just a bit of varnish on the top of my head. I don't know if I've done this right. You could maybe enlighten me on this. So that's just Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. And it was very thick. And a boy told me to pour in acetone. And I poured it in, it's turned purple on me. Maybe I poured the wrong stuff in. But there's the dabbler tied a very, very easy way. I don't think there's an Irish fisherman out there who hasn't one of them on his cast at some point. It's somewhere on the line. They're very, very productive fly.
Catch a lot of fish, dabblers.
Pardon?
They catch a lot of fish, dabblers,
Yeah, yeah,
especially pulling them through a wave.
yeah. With the sorry, the silver dabbler, I would fish it for pin fry and stuff, and then a green dabbler, I would fish it in the top dropper, and I would gink it up, and then when I cast it out and fish them wet, as I'm bringing it to the boat, if you let it just lift it up to the top of the water and just let it sit there, you'll have fish come and nail it at the side of the boat. So
You could buy a thinner, Matthew, for the Sally Hansen's rather than an acetone. An acetone doesn't really work properly.
oh, is it better just to bin this and go again?
No, keep that.
They'll keep that. You just get an varnish thinners.
Oh,
I think Sally Hansen's do their own even.
all right.
I don't know what the thinners is made of. I don't know, but it's a thinner you can
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah, I've noticed because after I poured the acetone into that, it's
Yeah, the trouble with acetone, it's a cleaner and it breaks down the fullness.
oh, all right.
If
Yeah.
you want to get anything, clean anything off, like permanent marker, use acetone. If you want to clean a reel and all the gunge off things, use an acetone.
All right.
It's a cleaning agent more than a thinner.
All right. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. So, what hooks have I got in front of me here?
I mean, it will thin it, obviously, because it breaks it down, but it changes the structure.
I think I have the stuff in front of me here to tie a green dabbler. This will probably be my favorite dabbler of them all. The wrong color thread, but it'll do no harm. This is primrose, should probably be black. So, starting at the eye and running it down.
A product I found which is just as good is Flybox Hard as Nails.
And would it be as thick as Sally Hansen's?
It doesn't seem to go quite as thick as Sally Hansen's, but it does the job.
Yeah. Whenever I bought that Sally Hansen's, even from it was brand new, I thought, geez, this stuff's very, very thick.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll give this Flybox stuff a go because it was nearly hard to work with the Sally Hansen's because it was so thick.
Just check the name of it.
Yeah.
Rock Hard, the clear brushable varnish of Flybox is very good.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
And it was cheaper than Sally Hansen's.
That Sally Hansen's is about £7 or £8 a bottle now. It's not...
Yeah, this I think it's a couple of quid.
Yeah. I had a piece of wire in front of me, but I don't know where it's going. Leave it.
Don't tell me the dogs had that as well.
No, it is sitting in front of me here somewhere, but there's a mess of stuff everywhere. I came in the other day and he had a full golden pheasant head just munching away at it. Oh, so it could have been tears. But the kids, see, they come in, they love sitting flying tan flies, but for some reason they took a shine to my expensive or hard to get materials. There was one day I came in and he had fly tied with jungle cock and cree and everything.
Oh God.
You need a safe.
Yeah, but I would rather use the materials. You might be wasting a lot of them. Rather use them and enjoy tan flies because someday we can take this up as a hobby. No, I don't want to come in and be like, oh, don't use that, don't use this, and then I think, oh, maybe not touch any of that in case I get in trouble.
If you're like me, you got too much anyway, Matthew.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, when the kids go back to school, I'm going to get my dad down to see if he can help me put a bit of a shed out here, out the back, away from this dog because he keeps stealing stuff off me. And I don't think the wife's too happy with me taking over the kitchen table.
I think the problem with sheds is make sure it's mouse proof.
Yeah. I'm not sure. So, well, the shed I got is off, it was off Facebook Marketplace, it was free, but I was going to line the inside of it with plastic, maybe. I don't know if that would work, but maybe that's too far and it will ruin it. I probably need to go to Google and see what I need to do.
Yeah, I find mice is the biggest problem outside.
Oh. Well, hopefully there's no mice in my estate because there's cats absolutely everywhere. So
yeah, the mouse chewed me bloody waders, chewed me shoes, chewed me bloody suit, everything.
Is your wee flight hand room a shed outside?
No, but I had an auxiliary fly tying room outside where I've stored extra stuff I couldn't get in the house.
Oh.
Until I bring it in. It stays in quarantine out there, really, until it's safe.
Oh, right.
But mice are the problem. I don't get any problem with moths.
Yeah.
But mice are a pain in the ass.
Have any of you had any bother with moths before? Because you keep hearing people say, "Oh, you need to freeze your materials and all this when you get them," but I've never once seen a bug in any of my stuff. But maybe it's just.
I get my stuff from Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
And most of my game birds, and I put them in plastic sealable bags.
Yeah.
I do use a product called Resolve, which I spray all my drawers of the room and all around the carpets once a year.
Yeah.
Which they use in museums, and that does keep them down.
Oh, maybe could you send a link of that stuff into the chat? Because just with the dog and all, I'm worried that there is going to be bugs in my stuff, but I just don't know what I'm looking for with them. Well, maybe that's how we keep them away once I do get
also
them
use epithylene or whatever it's called, which is now banned in the UK, but you can still get on the internet. That keeps them out as well.
Yeah, it's very good stuff, but I got in a lot of trouble for bringing that home and putting that in the kitchen.
You can buy naphthalene crystals on the internet.
Yeah, on eBay you can get them, but it's not meant. It's been banned in the UK for sale.
It's very strong stuff. The smell of it, it's.
But even the stuff I use and spray, it's got a smell to it.
Yeah.
I think it's based on permethrin, which is it kills all the bugs in the eggs.
You're well clued up on different chemicals.
Well, I did it. Well, I used to be basis trained in chemicals, but I also, when I got fly tying stuff, I researched a bit and I use it. I know Stuart Hardy uses it for his stuff as well.
Tried to give that a go there, Derek, of what you were saying, but I just can't get the hang of it. I'll just stick my wing on the way I normally do.
The biggest thing is keep sealed separate bags. And if you do get infection in one bag, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh. So what do you look out for when you do get them in? Like, how do you know you've got them?
Oh, you smell it.
Oh, right.
You can smell the acid they produce.
Oh,
But you'll
right.
see the bugs in the bottom of the bags, and
Yeah, I thought I was just looking for you come in to use a cape someday and it's just gone.
But you can get the odd cape. If you leave the odd cape out, you can see where moths have attacked it. You'll have holes in the feathers.
Yeah.
But it's just really being strict on how you keep and store it.
Yeah. Most of the stuff, whenever I bring it home, I just stick it in the freezer for a couple of days.
That does help kill the eggs, yes.
Minimum 2 weeks.
Is it a minimum of 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I thought once it was froze. If you stuck me in the freezer for a couple of hours till it was froze, that's me done, yeah. I thought once they were frozen and dead, they wouldn't come back.
Any new stuff I get, I put it in the freezer for 2 weeks.
Oh.
You can
Somebody also told me that they microwave their stuff for about 10 to 15 seconds, but I'm not microwaving
it makes the hackles brittle.
Yeah.
Microwaving's not a good idea.
No, it can't be good for your materials.
I mean, I tend to, when I get stuff in, I usually wash thoroughly. I condition with a conditioner, dry, and then pack in separate packets.
And you wash everything as it comes in?
If it's dirty, yeah, it smells. I'm a bit careful. If I got stuff from Steve Cooper, I have trust in it.
Yeah. Oh.
But if you buy stuff on eBay, don't trust anyone's stuff secondhand.
Yeah. And what about after something's been dyed? Do you think the moths would go for it the same as whether it's been undyed or?
But it's still a feather. It still has the smell of a feather, and but most stuff is attracted by meat on the product. So just make sure there's no meat on there.
Yeah.
It's scraped wisely on wings and things is the thing which will really get him in.
Oh.
And if you got a bit of meat on there, it smells a bit. Put a bit of borax on that.
Is borax and washing powder? Can you use washing powder, or is that just another old wives' tale?
I never use washing powder. I only ever use borax. You can get borax. Just put it on the meaty section. It just dries the meat out.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
But you can never be too careful.
Yeah. What about, do you ever fly tan shows or anything? When you come home from those, would you be putting your stuff in the freezer or washing it again, or?
What, fly tying material, tools?
Yeah.
No, don't worry about the tools.
No, do you know whenever like a fly tan show? Say you went there and you were tan flies at it, would you come back and stick your stuff in the freezer in case somebody else has it?
Not worried about that.
No.
Yeah.
Remember, a lot of these insects only come into dark places where it's quiet.
Ah, right, okay.
So where you get your problems in the corner behind wardrobes and things like that.
Yeah.
They go to the
Oh.
dark,
Yeah.
lay their eggs where they're going to be protected.
Yeah.
And it's the eggs and the young which cause the damage, not the adult.
Oh. I didn't know that. Yeah. So, has anyone any questions on the flies of tide?
Nearly everybody's on mute, so give them a minute.
Oh.
Anybody got any questions for Matthew?
I remember the first night out on one of these lives. I think I got 3 flies tied, and it took me about probably an hour and a half to do them, and I've went through them there in no time tonight compared to the last time.
Yeah, you got through pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Nice patterns, Matthew.
Okay. There was one I was sitting here in front of me. I was thinking of doing it, and then I thought I'll not bother. There's too much in it, and I'll make a mess of it somewhere. I was going to do this. That's Tony O'Sullivan's Deer Hair Bumble. That's an absolutely beautiful fly then.
That looks a nice fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
But I thought to myself, there's too much in that to be doing on a live one. I'll maybe do a video for YouTube where I can edit it, and if I make a mistake. Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about mistakes. Everybody makes them.
Yeah. If nobody's any questions, I think I'm going to nip off here and get the kids ready for bed because they're starting school next week, and if I don't get them into routine, it's going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
They go back to school next week, do they, Matthew?
Yeah. It used to be, I always remembered it. You go back to school in September, but they're starting here on the 25th. That's mad to me. I always thought it was September.
Yeah, I thought that as well, but
Yeah.
my kids are well grown up.
Yeah. Here, I can't wait to get rid of them next week. I'm sick of listening to fighting. They do nothing but argue.
So your wife's been spending your money on new school uniforms, shoes, and everything else.
Yeah. Well, we only had one to buy because the younger one, he's getting all the older boy stuff because we bought him a full uniform last year and it wasn't even on him once because he wore his PE kit to school every day.
Thanks for stepping in tonight, Matthew.
Yeah.
No problem.
Matthew, cracking show, mate. Excellent stuff.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, nice flies, Matthew. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.